Imagine a queen who was so wise and captivating that the fate of entire empires might be affected by her mere presence. This is the tale of Cleopatra, the final Egyptian pharaoh, whose charm and intelligence changed Roman politics and the path of history forever. There was a lot of unrest when Cleopatra VII came to the Egyptian throne. She belonged to the Ptolemaic dynasty, a branch of Greek emperors in Egypt that was founded in 69 BC by a general of Alexander the Great. Cleopatra was not like her forebears. She ruled not simply by virtue of her birthright, but also because of her intelligence and charm. She was a politician and a scholar, an uncommon combination in the ancient world, and spoke Greek, Egyptian, and Latin fluently. However, there was much danger and intrigue along Cleopatra's route to power. Cleopatra shared control with her younger brother Ptolemy XIII upon the passing of her father Ptolemy XII. Soon after, this arrangement fell apart, sparking a power struggle that ultimately drove Cleopatra from Egypt. In exile, she did not tremble. Rather, she skillfully and shrewdly planned her return. Julius Caesar's arrival in Egypt in 48 BC presented Cleopatra with her opportunity. Caesar was the most powerful individual in Rome, which at the time was a superpower. Cleopatra was aware that she could maintain her position by standing with Caesar. Rolling up in a carpet, she famously had herself smuggled into his company, making a theatrical entrance that emphasized her audacity and cunning. Captivated by her charm and intelligence, Caesar consented to back her claim to the throne. Caesar helped Cleopatra take back her throne. They were personal and political allies. Caesar's son, Caesarion, was born to Cleopatra and Ptolemy XV. But their collaboration was more than just a romantic relationship. It brought together the resources of Egypt and the military might of Rome. Egypt experienced a brief era of relative peace and prosperity under Cleopatra's leadership. But this peace was shaky and dependent on her Roman friends. With Julius Caesar's assassination in 44 BC, the balance of power altered once more. As anarchy erupted in Rome, Cleopatra had to negotiate this perilous terrain in order to preserve her monarchy and her son's destiny. Here comes Mark Antony, a member of the triumvirate that ruled Rome following Caesar's death and one of his closest allies. Cleopatra and Antony were an ideal marriage because of Antony's military strength and love of luxury. Their encounter became a legend. Dressed as the goddess Aphrodite, Cleopatra set out on a golden barge with purple sails to meet Antony in Tarsus. Already taken aback by her notoriety, Antony was completely enthralled. Cleopatra's wit, charm, and intelligence worked like magic. She found a loyal partner and lover in Antony, and the two went on to have 3 children together. Together, they envisioned Alexandria as the capital of a new empire that would challenge Rome. But their connection was more than a romantic partnership. It was a calculated move. While Antony supplied military backing and political authority, Cleopatra gave him access to Egypt's resources and money. The stability of Rome was threatened by their combined ambitions, particularly when Antony started to publicly contradict Octavian, Caesar's adoptive son and the future Emperor Augustus. When Octavian and Antony's hostility peaked, it resulted in the historic Battle of Actium in 31 BC. In a maritime battle that would decide the fate of the ancient world, Cleopatra and Antony took on Octavian's army. Cleopatra and Antony were outmaneuvered even with their superior troops. Their hopes of building an empire were dashed as their fleet was destroyed, and they retreated back to Egypt. The end arrived quickly. They were followed to Alexandria by Octavian. Antony decided to fall on his sword in the face of certain loss. When left on her own to face her destiny, Cleopatra looked for an alternative route. In an effort to provide her kids with a future, she tried to reason with Octavian. Cleopatra could not stomach the thought of being paraded in Octavian's triumphal procession in Rome, as he was determined to eradicate any danger to his power. As a last act of defiance, Cleopatra famously killed herself with the bite of a poisonous asp snake. With her passing, the Ptolemaic dynasty came to an end, and Egypt became a province of the Roman Empire. But Cleopatra's legacy was far from ended. Generations of people have been captivated by the myriad artistic, literary, and dramatic interpretations of her life and death. Beyond just being a queen, Cleopatra was a representation of grace, wit, and political savvy. The ancient world was altered by her capacity to enchant and sway some of the most powerful men of her era. Ultimately, the life of Cleopatra is proof of the lasting influence of brilliance and charm. By questioning the norms of her era, she proved that a woman might be just as competent as any man at ruling. Her tale is one of triumph and resiliency mixed with romance, mystery, and tragedy. Remaining a legendary person in history, Cleopatra was the persuasive force behind the Egyptian throne. Her impact can still be seen today,